Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very dangerous panel. We have some incredible creators here today to talk to you about all the ways to get in trouble with the law and your local neighbors. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, though I'm sure they do not need to. Go ahead.
I'm Peter Schriepel, and I like airplanes.
Well, let me see if my voice is there. I'm Electro Boom, and I try to make high voltage, low voltage, any voltage circuits, and I get hurt in the process. Sorry about my voice.
I'm Drake. My YouTube channel is StyroPyro, and I make videos about lasers, high voltage, and chemistry. So a lot of fun stuff.
My name's Alec, and I'm a blacksmith and a metal worker, so use fire and hammers.
Nice, and I'm Tamara from Mythbusters. So we're going to start off by talking about the one thing that we all love, law enforcement and TSA. So what is the craziest story that you have and the best excuse you've used to get away with what you were doing wrong?
Ooh, I have to go first? Who's going first?
You can jump around.
Okay.
I think you said you had a story, sir.
Well, I know you had some trouble with TSA on the way in, right?
Yeah, I was trying to bring in my Tesla coil handheld gun. It looks like a gun, right? So everything, I always have trouble in the airports because I throw all these strange stuff in my luggage, and they are fine because they end up being electronics. There is no explosive in them. But then this guy, it looks like a gun. It was passing through the X-ray, and the guy looked at the X-ray. "Excuse me, sir, what is that thing in your..." And then he looked at me. "You're Electro Boom. Okay, good."
Oh, that's awesome that they recognized you there.
So it's good that it works out. The moral of the story, become a big YouTube channel if you want to pass TSA easily.
If I was the TSA agent, I would have stopped you and been like, I don't know if we should let this guy through.
Exactly. Yeah, actually, there was another time, like, you go through the US Customs, the guy also knew me, and he actually told me, "Hey, you are going to blow stuff in our hotels?" I didn't know how to answer him, yes or no. Would you let me in US if I said yes? Or he was funny. I got into US, so no problem.
This is why I have global entries, so I don't have to have letters to explain all the residue on me.
Right.
So.
That's smart.
But I hear you have a cop story.
Yeah. I mean, I know at the last Open Sauce, I talked about the time the FBI visited my cabin in the woods. But the funny part is my first run-in with feds was actually almost 20 years ago when I was 12 years old. So it's a funny story because. So at the time, money was tight in my family, and I overheard my parents talking about ways that they can make ends meet. And I'm like, hey, I have a perfect idea. We need to buy industrial quantities of sodium metal and then sell it on the internet. So for the uninitiated, sodium metal is it's extremely reactive. When you throw it in water, it explodes. So it explodes in contact with water. But for all the pyros out there, when you try buying it on the internet, it's like $200 a pound. And it was like that, 20 years ago. But the kicker is it's actually one of the cheapest industrial metals because, I mean, salt is almost half sodium. And you just, tickle it with electricity and you get the metal out. And there's big plants that make that. But long story short, for less than $1,000, you could get a 400-pound barrel of it delivered to a residential address. So we start chopping up and selling it on the internet. It sells like hotcakes. We buy this stuff for like pennies on the dollar, and we sell it for $200 a pound, and it was great. I had a whole barrel of sodium that I could play with, and we're selling it like hotcakes. And we buy another barrel, so we're up to 800 pounds of this stuff. But then we got guy pulls in the driveway, and he was pretty unhappy. It wasn't illegal to sell this, but I guess he was really angry about like certain hazmat things, and he might have even been with the FAA, if that makes sense. It's been so long ago, but he shut us down, but we didn't get in any actual trouble over it. But yeah, that was actually my first run-in with the cops then. Yeah.
Oh, you're first, so there's more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, no. Well, speaking of the FAA, I have gotten in trouble there. I mean, this story might be getting old at this point, but it was with the third ultralight I built, which is like the plane I could sit and fly around. And this thing was built under the FAA 103 regulations, which is actually kind of insane that they have this. But any airplane under 254 pounds that flies less than 55 miles an hour and carries less than 5 gallons of gas, there is no sort of government intervention as far as regulation or like looking into the airplane itself, as far as like, is it airworthy? Well, that's up to the pilot and who's getting into it. I think mainly it has to do with the mass of the plane hitting a structure or something, because I've watched a few YouTube videos of people getting airplanes that don't know how to fly these things, hitting the sides of houses and stuff, and the house is typically fine. But anyway, someone really didn't like my airplane, and they called the FAA, made a huge stink about it. Then the FAA instructor calls me, he's like, yeah, well, I'm calling to investigate you because someone has reported you for, violating FAA or, Part 103 rules. And then I was like, oh no. And then he's like, but I'm a big fan of your channel. And then he just tells me,
Nice.
yeah, it's a little overweight. Can we have some proof of this? Which I technically don't even have to, but I'm like, well, this guy's cool. I'll just take a picture of the plane on the scale and send it. I did a video on it, but I think it's about time I probably break a few more rules because I'm getting tired of telling that story.
So, Alec, obviously they're talking about being afraid of humans. What's the machine that you are most afraid of?
It is the metal lathe. The metal lathe is the machine that I am terrified of constantly every single time I use it.
Cheers for metal lathe. Yay!
Metal lathe accidents.
The consequence of an accident looks a lot like the beginning of making spaghetti bolognese.
What about you guys? What machines are you afraid of in your lines of work?
Well, for us, anything that makes high voltage that can kill you. I
Yeah,
guess.
big transformers, big
Yeah.
mains transformers. Those, one mistake and you die instantly.
Yeah.
I think it's either gravity or the propellers for me.
Okay, so speaking of things to not try at home, you guys obviously play with dangerous stuff for a living every single day. On Mythbusters, we have a rule that we don't ever show the recipe of the secret sauce for explosions. What do you do to keep the audience at home safe and not quite repeating what you do, especially the kids?
Well, for example, for me, the stuff I make are so simple and repeatable that doesn't even need my instructions. Somebody can go try them and get hurt. So I do them in my videos and I get hurt, just hoping that people see it and don't repeat the same thing, or at least know how they can get hurt. Hopefully.
Interesting strategy, yeah.
Yeah.
Just put yourself on the line. I like it.
Right, yeah. I sacrifice myself for you.
Well, for me, people have requested plans for the ultralights, but I barely trust them myself, so I tend not to share those. I might be breaking the rule with one of the next airplanes I design, where I have the audience design the airplane for me, which could be very, 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 very bad.
Oh, no.
But I think I might do some sort of like open source work with the new airplane design as far as like FEA calculations and fun stuff like that. But for the most part, I just don't really share the dangerous blueprints for these death traps because I barely remember how I built it myself.
That's opposite of me because I often do show like my schematics, but I mean I'm upfront about it. It's like you touch it, you die. That's it, So it's like there's really not much to like. It's about as simple as it gets, right? So it's like, and you can see how like scary some of this stuff is. So like you wouldn't want to mess with it. I don't even know why I mess with it sometimes. So it's
Well, it's fun,
Yeah, it is fun. I will admit that it's very fun.
It's not generally something I'm too concerned about, with the big stuff, because they need to have like 25,000 pounds of equipment to hurt themselves on
Sure.
the big
Right.
stuff. But simple things like, hey, wear a mask when you're grinding things so you don't get lung cancer. I like to encourage that people do that by wearing it myself, because I'm also not keen on that.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Well, if it was in my channel, I would get lung cancer, so other people would.
Big brain move. Yeah, very nice.
Good that I'm not metalworking, I guess.
So I like this a lot of leading by example. So what's the next biggest, scariest thing you're contemplating building? A little bit of spoiler alerts for the audience.
Well, I always wanted to make something fly, like one of those quadcopters, but it's something that I can ride on. I tried to get some motors for it, but then the manufacturer said, hey, we don't sell it to you because it's not made for flying people.
But
So-
you don't say that ever. I have connections there, and they're like, well, these are for agricultural drones. And I'm like, agriculture? You want to see the airframe?
Yeah.
With the seat in it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, like a sleigh-shaped one. I did that too. That was a bit of a death trap. I put my dad in that first, though.
Yeah.
He volunteered.
Yeah. How about you?
I mean, there's always a lot of things I want to mess with. Like I have a video about 100 car batteries. Well, I want several hundred more, But I think another fun one is I really would like to play with lightning. I think there's a lot of YouTubers that are talking about this, where you can shoot like a trailing wire rocket in a thunderstorm and get it to strike. I think that would be pretty fun. That would be interesting.
Yeah, it would be fun, especially if you are holding to the end of the wire.
Oh yeah, Ben Franklin style. Yeah, gosh, that was such a cool guy. Yeah.
Just last week, we were throwing around the idea of potentially making an enormous guillotine, like car-cutting guillotine, 2-inch plate blade. So maybe that happens one day.
And I think I kind of spoiled it my last panel, but I want to do a cardboard airplane that I can sit in and fly in. I don't know if we're going to fly to an event or something, but I'll probably just do an exhibition flight over water or something. Because it's not that dangerous. It's just a cardboard airplane that I can sit in.
Experimental aircraft.
Yeah.
That's like even like the professionally designed ones. That is an endeavor that is just like that has a body count. So like doing it.
You know, the laws of aviation are written in blood, but now they can be written on cardboard.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like if you get scared, you pee your pants, the cardboard gets wet, and then you fall off the plane.
Yeah, it's like the joke. You know, the propeller on the front of the airplane is just to keep the pilot cool so he doesn't sweat too much, but I can sweat and make the cardboard fall apart, and then I crash.
Exactly so.
Amazing. So we're actually going to open up to the audience a lot earlier in this panel because we know that you guys have a ton of questions. So as you guys line up to be able to do the Q&A, we'll have someone with a microphone that's waiting. I want to know, what's the one thing that you won't play with because it scares you a little too much? I'll start with Peter.
Me? Well, it's kind of funny because these two are here, but I will not play with electricity because I don't quite understand it, and I know it can kill you very, very, very fast. So I don't really play with high voltage stuff.
It's funny though because like I'm the exact opposite because I feel like electricity is like relatively straightforward, but like mechanical abominations, like you talk about a big metal lathe, that scares me, you know. But like electricity, I don't know. I feel like electricity is predictable.
Yeah, I did mechanical design once, and it almost killed me. Because my Jacob's ladder fell on me. I made such a poor base.
Mechanical design.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm still scared of using those microwave oven transformers, but yeah.
I am also terrified of electricity.
Yeah. So we win. Yay.
This is a very good panel. We have like polar opposites here as far as what we're terrified of.
Right,
I feel like we have a competition for Nitro. It's like machines versus electrical is going to happen for the most dangerous panel.
Well, I guess it means that when we don't know what we are dealing with, we get hurt.
I like it a lot. So I can see that we have some people lined up. So let's go ahead with our first question.
Have any of you ever bought something and wondered how is this legal to buy or even sell in the United States of America or anywhere?
Absolutely. I started blacksmithing when I was a child, and as a child, I was able to purchase oxypropane torches, hundreds of pounds of propane, oxygen. I mean, it was shocking the things I could purchase as an actual child, and I'm very grateful for it, because here I am.
And I mean, me getting 800 pounds of sodium metal as a 12-year-old, that was pretty wild.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I still see a lot of things on Amazon and Alibaba or whatever that they sell. I don't think they have any standards on them. Like, for example, those things that you just plug into the outlet to expose the wires, put it in your tea to warm it up. Who in the world sell, like, why do we even...
So I try to buy, I think those really got like scrubbed and canceled from the internet because they're hard to buy those now. What a shame.
Yeah.
I want one.
Well, you still can buy one of those shower heads that you can plug into your outlet.
Suicide shower.
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank here, so I'm going to have to pass on this question.
Okay, next question. Thank you so much.
A lot of the stuff I build, pretty much all of it, is very homemade. When did you start transitioning to more professional equipment?
That's a
Professional.
question.
What are you talking about,
Not
professional?
me.
Yeah, not me either. Are you doing professionally?
No, I don't have any professional
Probably
equipment.
the most professional guy here. Well, I mean...
I don't know if I'm there yet, but as soon as I could afford it, I was buying the best machines that I could afford to be able to make better things.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, I always had a day job before I did YouTube, right? So at work, we had good equipment. But when I started doing YouTube, I always borrowed from work. And at some point, thanks God, when I got bigger, they started giving me free tools to play with. Still not professional. No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. Don't mind the camera, sorry. But I have a question for all four of you. So, what is the closest you have gotten yourself possibly lethally harmed, close to death? Sorry. And is it something you posted or have not posted?
Okay, I'll let you in on a secret. The fourth airplane I built, I put the wing bolts in. They're bolts. Bolts have nuts that go on the other end. I took off without putting the nuts on.
Oh my gosh.
I was supposed to use a checklist, and I'm very embarrassed about this, but I'll tell you about it. But the thing is, like, they didn't fall out at all. They didn't move at all because once you're under tension, you have to have a hammer and a ball peen to push them out. But I did a little hop down the runway, and I stopped. I'm like, oh, I forgot to put those bolts in. So that's very bad, very dangerous.
You got close to it.
But that's why I'm not a commercial pilot, by the way. I dropped out of that because I get task saturated too fast. So I stopped the commercial routine for me, and it's like, well, I'll just build my own homemade death traps from just me.
Well, for me, it's always the one story that I made this Jacob's ladder with the microwave oven transformer, and it has 2,000 volts of how many watts? I don't know, a ton of, it cooks your food, you know. So I made it with that, and I made a mechanical design, which I don't know how to do, and it was top heavy, and it fell on me, and everything was in slow motion, right? So you see it falling down on you, and you know, okay, I was thinking, this has like 2,000 volts. I probably shouldn't let it touch my chest because my heart is there, you know. So I better grab it with both hands. Which basically is the same thing. The damn high voltage doesn't care about your skin. It breaks your skin, goes through your low resistance tissue. So it went right through me. I was like, and the good thing is that my stupid wires were so loose when I got contracted. All the wires were disconnected, and fortunately I was saved. But I like you can see it, I posted it actually, you can see it, of course, yeah. And when you see it, if you stop on the right frame, you can see my skin blowing off from there. So that was the worst one. I was very lucky. I stopped my video, I went to lay on the floor and counted my blessings and then continued the rest of the video the next day. But yeah, that was the closest I came to.
I think we all have to count our blessings with what we do.
Yeah, I think I have to. Yeah.
And surprisingly, I really haven't had any like near-death experiences with what I do, which is kind of shocking. I guess one time.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess I haven't had any big shocks though. I haven't had any big shocks. When I was a kid, I was building a mortar with my friend and to launch some homemade fireworks, and I broke a big rule on that you're not supposed to use PVC pipe for that because it like fragments. Sure enough, our mortar got jammed in the tube and operated in pipe bomb mode. And I remember this thing popping and this piece of PVC just going by like light speed, going by my head. And I'm like, oh, that's why you don't do that. But other than that, like, I really haven't had anything that crazy happen to me.
I'm kind of in a similar boat with the blacksmithing itself. The tools, they haven't really got close to getting me. Slips, trips, and falls is obviously a big hazard just for everybody in everyday life. When I was a kid, fell through one of my workshop roofs and kind of caught myself right here. Very scary. Whew. Managed to clamber back up on the roof and like kind of look in the hole in the roof that I've just made. And underneath is a bucket of scrap with like a bunch of 3/8 round bar poking up out of it. And it would have just been a really miserable, slow, painful death. But it didn't happen.
Makes for good content, though.
Yeah, of course.
It actually really does. I know you didn't ask me, but I'm going to jump on this one because I actually died on national television. The last episode of Mythbusters: The Search, I drowned and had to. They didn't show the actual getting brought back. They just showed the drowning and then me jumping off of an Olympic-sized diving board afterwards, happily. So definitely use your life vests the way you're supposed to, and don't try to walk on water with them. Is all I have to say. So great question.
Thank you. And I don't know if I'm allowed to do a second. It's just only for Styro. Did you ever figure out the testosterone level thing?
Yeah, so I got a, recently I had this so I had my testosterone levels measured because I can't grow much facial hair. And then turns out they're completely off the charts, which is astonishing. And so I've been through this whole thing, this whole medical nightmare, and then I had a liver biopsy on Monday, and I had the pleasant experience of having 4 little pieces of my liver ripped out while I was awake. And I didn't actually get diagnosed with anything, but what was found isn't like super bad, so it's actually really good news. So thank you.
He is too manly to grow beards.
Yeah, I guess so.
He has too much testosterone.
So, my question is targeted at all of you, which is when you're making a video, you've shot some of it, and then you get into a point in the project you didn't expect, you thought you could do all of it, right? And then you get to a point, you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to try that. I don't wanna do that. But then you're like, I'm in too deep, or the video needs to go out this week, or like, has that kind of sort of thing ever happened?
Oh, I have a good one. So I built this. I built one of the most powerful vacuum tube-driven Tesla coils in the whole world. And in my video, I wanted to touch the output of it directly without any protection. And I fire this thing up, and I see this like just hellacious arc shoot off this thing. I mean, shoots like 6 feet in the air. It sounds like a substation transformer just like exploding. And I want to touch this thing, and I know the theory that says that I'm not going to die by touching it. But to actually make the leap of faith and apply the theory to go and touch it, that was pretty terrifying. It took me a while to actually go in and just touch it, and I survived. But don't ever do that. It was so stupid.
Yeah, for me, if I ever find something new that will take much longer than when I have to upload, I guess I'll just wrap the video up quickly and make a new content out of it if I can. Otherwise, depends. Like if it is an essential part of the video I'm making already, then I have to extend it. Which is why it is good to be a YouTuber without any deadlines. You just make it anytime you want. Just stretch it as long as you want, make it as good as you want for the audience, and do it.
It's a blessing and a curse, though, because then you can always just keep going on.
I don't know why some YouTubers bound themselves with deadlines.
Yeah, it's usually just sometimes sponsors that push those deadlines, but a lot of times I have a lot of pull with that. But it's a lot of self-imposed pressure to post the content. But sometimes there's some content needs to be fully fleshed out. If it's a really good video of mine, I will push the brakes on it and we'll redo whatever needs to be done to get it done. Unlike the lawnmower plane, which just went out. That I was trying to trim the tops of the trees with that, but I ran out of time complete with that one and it had to go out.
I had a similar an experience with this recently because I purchased a 1915 steam hammer without ever having seen it, and it arrived in parts, and I started filming the first episode, and I stopped in the middle of what I was doing to question why on earth I would make this decision, because I thought that there was no way that I had the skills to do this. I'm still not sure if I have the skills to do it, but I'm 10 episodes deep, so, hopefully in another 20 we'll find out.
Nice. Done is better than perfect, right?
Make sure the camera is rolling while you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering.
And welcome.
My question's for Style or Pyro. What is the top 3 most dangerous recipes you found in the chemical formulary? And are you planning to make them, or have you already?
Oh, gosh. I got another.
Well, I think we have to ask him first. What does he need the recipe for?
Yeah,
What
really,
do you want to do with the
what
recipe?
diabolical things are you planning with this?
Nothing. I was just curious.
Are you going to write that to your
Yeah.
FBI agent? Nothing.
I'm thinking of at least the ones I've talked to. There are recipes that I found that I actually didn't put in the video because there's no way I could post it. But I'm kind of drawing a blank on those right now. I mean, there's a lot of really flagrant uses of cyanide, just real, killing ants with it, or just filling your whole house with cyanide to kill rats and whatever, and just just fill it all with, just fill it with cyanide and let gas just kill every single thing that might possibly take a breath. And then just air it out, and then you let your kids back inside. I mean, there's that kind of stuff in there too. But and then I guess it also depends on there's the acute danger of things exploding at the wrong time. But then there's also that using mercury salts and lead salts or thorium or even thallium salts, which are just so toxic. They just use it like it's salt, and it's just. I couldn't even tell you what the worst one in there is right now, but there's a lot of them.
Is getting one on eBay for my chemistry teacher for about $100 a good deal?
Well, I got mine for free from the garbage, but there are free PDFs online of like the whole first 10 volumes if you just want to read them. But yeah, if you're gonna buy a first volume edition, they're gonna be expensive, and it's because of me. They were cheap before I posted those videos.
May I ask whose garbage it was?
It was.
He has a purpose for that.
Yeah, it was just the garbage at my school. They were just clearing out a bunch of old books, and I'm, of course, like, oh, anytime I see stuff in the garbage, I'm like, ooh, like free stuff, you know?
I mean, you can dig into his garbage to probably find a ton of good stuff in there.
Oh, you won't in mine.
Why did your school have that book?
I mean, I was, I did a chemistry degree for some reason, and this was the chemistry department, and they've been around a long time, so they were clearing out the old books and filling it with new trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like I'm in a tribunal. Bright lights in front of me, got a microphone, you're speaking real loud. For Electro Boom, do you like getting electrocuted? Because
It may sound like it, but no, actually, I hate it so much. It's for some reason, it's even more painful to me than a lot of other people I've seen. Like I made this magic wand. It hurts me so much, but I gave it to someone. He was just zapping himself like he was taking a shower. La 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 la. Didn't care. So no, it's pretty bad. So every time I want to like have a shock in my videos, typically I script it so that I know when it's gonna happen. I plan it so it actually doesn't shock me, and I try to act it out so that it seems like I shocked it. And a lot of times people in the comments say, "Oh, look at that idiot! He doesn't know how to use electronics," and that's when I know I did it right.
Thank you.
and for Styropyro, your cancer ray, how long do you think that would take to be lethal?
Oh gosh, that's a hard one, because I mean, like, if you think about like using tanning booths or something, some people come down with melanoma in their 20s or even earlier, and other people can just cook in the sun all day and never have a problem. That's a hard one to quantify.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. So look, danger is sexy, but how do we keep people's dangerous passions alive without releasing a rogue maker army, guys? What do we do?
Well, I mean, sorry about that, but I think we let them loose already. Well, the thing is that, like, a lot of times, people will try stuff, right? So I guess what we do is to show everything that can go wrong and right about what we are trying to do so they can keep themselves safe. I guess at the end of the day, you can't stop people from doing stupid stuff. Well, we try.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
Thank you, guys.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah, so I think, at least personally, I believe that the best way to learn and grow as a person is to throw yourself into a project that you're not familiar with or you have no idea how to finish. So I was wondering what projects like that you guys might have.
Like for other people to try or our
No,
own?
you personally. What projects have you taken on knowing it's going to be overwhelming and that it was just crazy?
The crusty lobster boat I bought. It was $43,000 what I paid for that boat. I think it was gonna be $10,000 to finish it. It is now $50,000 over budget, and it's still not in the water. But it's a commercial boat, and I'm gonna do ocean research with it. Someone said it was like the dollar store version of like a nice research yacht, and I like that title, the dollar store research vessel. So we're going with that. So Star Power, we can see how many lead acid batteries we need to charge a reef and do all that stuff. So when this thing gets done.
The lead acid's great, yeah.
For me, I think like the most overwhelming project. Well, usually, if you have seen my videos, they are low quality content in general. I try not to pick up something too complicated so I can finish it on time. But I guess the hardest one I picked was the firefly lantern I made. It's like you have seen it in cartoons that you take a jar, a glass jar, fill it with fireflies, and it glows your environments. So I tried to make that out of electronics, which actually I put it in the Creator Museum. If you want to look at it, it's there. But yeah, that took me like 3 months to make on the background while I was doing other videos. So yeah, that was the hardest one for me.
I'll be short, but for me, it was the Soviet fire death machine. It's a century-old circuit, and it was witchcraft from the beginning to the end.
As I was saying earlier, it's currently this steam power hammer, knowing nothing about steam, knowing very little about how to restore it. Just have to take one step in front of the next and had to get started by maybe I'll clean something. Maybe I'll polish something. Then eventually, stuff starts happening, but it's terrifying.
Yes, thank you. And with that, you guys have shared so many dangerous memories with us today and so much to look forward to. Everyone stick around. We have our minors panel coming up next with the legendary Potato Ozman. But we would like to actually get a selfie with you all if you guys want to be part of it. So
Let's do a
everyone
selfie.
get together.
Ready for the selfie?
Do we put down our mics?
You are on the picture. Oh, I have to put the micro.
Selfie mic.
I'm still talking. You're coming.
I gotta get in here.
There you go. You're in. Say cheese.
That was very weird.
There you go.
Hey.